Hello YouTube, back again. We left the last video with our little stud up here, stopping us taking the head off. My local nut and bolt emporium don't have the right thread for the nuts, so I've had to order them. So rather than hang about and do nothing, we're going to continue with the strip down. We're going to take the primary case off, having drained it, and I'll probably drain both lots of oil out of the engine and the frame as well. So let's start by getting the oil out of this. Right, there's a drain screw just here, so that's what we're going to undo. Oh, I say we are. Oh my word! Let's try a different screwdriver. Oh, dear me. No, I'm going to lose that. Right, let me try and find an impact driver. Right, I couldn't show that unfortunately because I told it my left hand, I'm right-handed, which meant I was either standing in front of the camera or standing in front of the lights. So anyway, quick tap with the impact driver. And Bob is most certainly your uncle. So let's see if there is actually any oil in here. Not a lot. Okay, well, let's move on and start taking the screws out. They're all seem to be in very good condition. Doesn't look like they've been out before, to be honest. Oh, just a little bit tight. Oh, now then, can't get at that one. Right, I'm going to have to get in your way again, so I'll turn you off and come back when I've removed them all. But I think I'm going to have to remove the footrest. So when you come back, that might have gone as well, but it's a simple nut and bolt job. There's nothing very exciting about it at all. So, okay, the case screws are out. They all came out well. They're all in quite good condition. I popped off the little cover, which exposes the rotor nut and the rotor, which also looks remarkably good condition. We shall see when we pull it apart. So next, I'm just going to take off the rear brake pedal, which is held on by a bolt, and then the rod is attached by a split pin and washer, and then further back towards the back wheel, sorry that was a bit quick, we have a screw-on adjuster. So for the moment I'm just going to undo that, leave that attached to that for the moment, pull it off and then get the footrest off. So let's have a go at that. The rear brake rod adjuster has been undone off camera because it's fairly simple to do, it just unscrews, and now being a lazy git I'm going to use an impact wrench to get the brake pedal off. I thought it was captive, but I was wrong. So I've got a spanner jammed in the back now, and hopefully this time the compressor won't suddenly burst in when I'm trying to talk to you. But before then I'm going to remove the camera because once again everything is in my way. It would be better up on a bike bench, and I have got a bike bench, just not here. So you have to bear with me. Sorry for sniffing, it's very cold here. You have to bear with me whilst I whip this off and then bring you back, because I'm going to have to work straight in front of the camera. But you can see what I'm going to do. I'm just going to undo that. There's a captive nut at the, a nut at the back, and it'll pull off back shortly. Right, I just want to bring you back to the latest problem that's occurred. Also trying to sort this out. The back brake pedal is now off. Good news. The footrest is held by a 3/4 bolt coming from this side outwards. None of my spanners will get on it. So I've had to remove the chain guard to see if that will get on it. Still can't get any decent swing on it. I've got to get a ring spanner on it to get any sort of strength on it. So it looks like I'm now going to have to take off the chain as well, just to get access to one stupid bolt, which frankly is quite irritating because I can't get this off without getting the screw out. I can't get the screw out without taking that off. I can't take this off without taking the chain off, and I've already taken the brake pedal and the chain guard off as well. So it's really quite irritating. So I'm going to have to find a split link and knock the chain off, and I'll bring you back once I manage to do that, and hopefully I'll have got the footrest off as well, and we can finally get inside the chain case and see what on earth is going on. Right, see you shortly. Okay, got the chain off. I had to grind the link off because the split link was rusted in solid. So finally I managed to get something on the back of this bolt, which is a strong arm and a socket. So there's very little movement, but once I've cracked it, I'll be able to get a ratchet on it, hopefully, and we'll finally get this thing off so we can have a look in here. So let's give it a go. Yes, there we go. Let's see if we can get another turn on it with a strong arm. And I think the answer to that is no. Nope, I'm going to have to use the ordinary ratchet, but at least it moved. So let's get the ratchet amongst my piles and piles of tools that I'm now gathering about, trying to sort out what should have been a simple job. Yeah, this is a fine tooth ratchet, so I've got more movement than I would have in an ordinary ratchet, which is good. Can't get my hand in. Try again. Anyway, get the idea. So I'll bring you back when it's off. Okay. Footrest off. Tools tidied away to try and de-stress myself after the ridiculous amount of nonsense we had to go through just to get that one footrest on. Anyway, hopefully this is now ready to come. So we should give it a gentle tap. Nothing. Right, double check. I've not forgotten anything. Screws off, screws off, screws off. I'm not sure what that is, so I better take that out. Let's take that out and see if it makes any difference. I don't imagine it will, because it looks awfully like a level plug to me, but we shall see. Oh. Right, let's try again. That'll be clutch adjustment. That'll be chain checking. Neither of which made a blind bit of difference to this. Try again. There we go. There we go. Oh, my word. Well, I don't know if you can see that. But it all looks like brand new. Bit of melting on the stator plastic. We should look at that more closely when it comes off. But my word, everything looks like brand new. It's unbelievable. It's got 71 casting numbers in there. I'm absolutely staggered. Maybe the oil was drained for its transport from the US, I don't know. But my word, that's incredible. Okay, well, I shall gather about me all the tools I need to remove the next bit. We shall see you back in a few minutes. Okay, I'll get the stator off first, I think, which are 3 nuts, which have never been off. Don't any of this been off. Oh, tight. Right, now the stator wiring goes round the back here and is held in by some sort of bent metal clip. So that will have to be removed. And then it goes through a rubber bung in the back there and exits there. So I'm going to have to try and find something to get this off. So I'll just bring you around and let you have a look at that. Right, I don't know if you can see it. There's a loop there holding this wire against this casing, which goes through the casing, comes up and bends over, so a bit like a split pin. So I'm just going to go and find a screwdriver and get that out. Right, I've had a quick jiggle at the stator. Now I've removed the wire and the clip, which is it is just a bent piece of metal. That's the rubber boot. The wiring doesn't want to come through at the minute. I'll go back to that. However, the stator will not come off. It appears to have melted down here. I've managed to move it slightly, as you can see. And as I said in the introductory video, most of these bikes come off the road for a reason, which is why I was reluctant to try starting it. And looking at the state of this, I think this is the reason. I think the primary chain cases probably run low on oil at some point. This is overheated, conked out, hence no electrics, no spark, and it just got laid up. So I'm going to have to try and take the rotor and stator off together and separate them on the bench, because there's not much to lever against, and what there is quite thin alloy castings, and I'm not willing to risk damaging them for the sake of this. So we get this off, try and slide the pair of them off together. I'll probably just end up cutting these awkward wires because this is going to have to be replaced. I've absolutely no doubt about that. So, have I got a socket that'll fit that? That's the next question. Right, I'm using an impact gun again. You can lock the crank up and do it, but I'm using an impact gun. Although I did read one workshop manual on older bikes which said you shouldn't use an impact gun because it can loosen the magnets in the rotor. But I've been doing it for years on various things, so I'll keep going. Right. What's going on there? Try again. There we go. Nice and easy. So under the nut we have a spacer, we have a lock washer, and all of that should come off the crank. Yeah, but no chance, of course. Right, I'm going to have to think of some method to pull it off. So let me go and see what I've got in the way of pullers. Right, I didn't have a puller that would fit because it's well shrouded, which I'm going to show in a minute. It's taken nearly 20 minutes of very careful and very patient jiggling about, bit of lubrication, knocking it on and off, and eventually it's come free, taking the rotor with it. It's, I don't know if you can see that, but there's heavy discoloration in certain parts of it. And also it has melted all the way around there. Oh, at least that came out easy enough. So, hopefully, yeah, that looks good. That looks fine. Slightly, yeah, most of it's cleaning off. That should be okay, one would hope. This most definitely is not okay. You can see the state it's in round the edge. It's completely melted away there. It's actually got a hole. And yeah, that's dead and gone. So I will I will keep the magnets together until we get a new one, because it stops it attracting metallic crap around the workshop and also keeps the magnets in decent condition. So, stamped up February 1971. The bike was built in July, I believe. Okay, add that to the parts list. No doubt it will be very expensive. Although I suppose there is a possibility of upgrading the electrics at the same time. Might be able to get a slightly more powerful version, I don't know, I'll have to look. So, this sprocket should in theory come off the crank. Ah, lovely, it does. Last one I did on a Triumph, that was then stuck to the crank, which was no fun at all. So next, it will be remove the clutch cover, all the clutch plates, undo the clutch centre nut, but you're going to see all that anyway. So there we go. I'll have to release the tension on the adjuster, which is a set of screwed bolts there. I'll have to check which one does what. I'll have to look at the workshop manual. One will be a lock nut and one will do the adjusting. Presumably that's the adjuster. And then we'll have to take the Woodruff key out of the crank. So we'll just turn the crank round to make that slightly more accessible. Now, there we go. You can tap them out with a punch, or you can use a pair of side cutters. So, let me try the side cutters first and see if it wants to play ball. Given how this has gone today, so far, probably not. But we shall see. Yep, lovely. Lucky me. Right, okay, disassemble the clutch. But, looking at the clock, it's time for my tea. So I'm going to bag up all the parts, and then the clutch disassembly will have to wait till later. One thing I forgot to mention when I was fiddling about trying to get that stator and rotor off is I took off the sump guard, I suppose you'd call it, which was also fitted to the American Bonneville T140 I had. Also oil in frame, same frame as this. Obviously the Firebird Scrambler should have it on. I'm not entirely sure the T140 should have done. It's fairly flimsy, more a piece of decoration really rather than a useful addition to the bike's capabilities, but anyway, there it is, I've shown it to you. And in fact, before I go and have my tea, I think we'll drop the oil. Now the oil in frame A65 has a peculiarity. The oil sits in here like the Triumphs, and at the bottom on the underside, which I can't show you at the moment because there's just not enough light around, is a square plate with a gauze filter, and in this case is a central drain bolt. But because this engine was designed before it went into the oil in frame, it used to have a separate oil tank mounted on one of the sides, and therefore it has the self-same square plate with gauze mounted on the underside of the engine. So you have two identical plates which I'm going to drain and take off now, and then when I've got the engine on the bench and the frame stripped further, I'll show you where they actually fit, because it'll be an awful lot easier with the bike stroke engine on its side, so you can see what I'm talking about. So for the minute, I'm just going to drain the oil. The frame filter's done, the oil's out. There's not a lot in it, to be honest, and it's pretty mucky, but there's the filter plate. Two studs came out rather than stay in the bottom of the frame, but that happened on a Triumph, so I'm not really that bothered. There is nothing particularly bad, a little tiny bit there. Nothing particularly bad on that filter at all. Clean as a whistle, really. No metallic. In fact, that's actually gasket glue from one of the studs. So it's not even metallic, it's gasket. So that's very good. So I'll now have a look at the engine filter and see how that looks. Put that to one side. Right, and here's the engine one. Smaller, but the principle's the same. No drain plug on this, so just the four studs. All the studs remained in the engine, and like the frame one, apart from a rather ridiculous amount of blue gasket glue which has been used to try and seal it, it's nothing. No particles at all, really. So that bodes well. It makes me think that our little problem with the stator may indeed be what's driven this bike off the road. And looking at what I found so far, given the cylinder head was remarkably clean and everything in this primary case is remarkably clean, I'm starting to think that the 4,300 miles that's on the clock may very well be correct. We shall see when we go into this engine further. But it doesn't look like it's done heavy miles to me. Anyway, we shall see. Clutch next. But before I do that, I used the impact gun to take the nut off here. Had I been doing it manually, there was a lock washer, as we saw earlier, which I should have mentioned. If I was doing it manually, I would have knocked back the edge of the lock washer, which is quite small, and then undone the nut. As I was using the impact gun, I wasn't bothered because it has no problem at all taking it off. And I will be replacing the tab washer, lock washer, anyway, come what may. So that's why I didn't bother doing that. Anyway, onto the clutch. 3 screw down nuts. Normally the centre is raised through the centre of the nut. The centre's raised through the centre, that makes no sense. Normally the central part here, the circular part, pokes through and you need a forked implement to remove them. In this case, because it all looks so new, it's actually below the surface, so an ordinary flat bladed screwdriver should take them off. So let's have a go. Comes out with the cup. Anyway, I'll do the other two. You don't want to see me take them all off, it's fairly dull, and I'll bring you back when I'm taking the plate off. Right, they're all undone, that comes off, cup comes out again, that's all three. Then the cover just pulls off. And there's a nut and a push rod. Push rod comes out. Again, remarkably clean condition for one of these. And then we have our centre nut, which we have to undo, but before then I'll just pop the plates out, see what we got. We have a plain plate, followed by a friction plate, which doesn't want to come out. I'll have to go and get a hook or something to get that out. Right, let me go and find something to hook it out with. I've just noticed there's some strange markings on the edge of the clutch. Nothing visible on the cover. Strange. Right, anyway, let's try and get them out. There we go. Pretty good nick though. We'll do a proper inspection of all the engine parts in a separate video. At the minute, I'm just going to disassemble everything. We'll check them properly later, but it's all looking in remarkably good condition again. Come on. Out you come. A magnet would be handy. Again, I have one, but not here. Come on. Slightly fiddly. Come on, don't be awkward. locked in. Oh, you awkward son of a gun. There we go. Blimey. Forgotten how many plates are in these things. No. There we go. Right. There's the back of the basket. Now, if this had done heavy miles, these channels would show indentations along those grooves, and there's nothing. And the shock absorber section, which got rubber bungs in there, doesn't look to have been apart either. So once again, it's all looking remarkably good. Okay, so we need to find something that'll take that nut off, so let me go and find a socket. Right, noise alert. That should fit that. And off it comes. Self-locking nut. And there's a washer behind, which is quite thick. Chunky monkey. And then inside there, hard to see, but the centre of this is threaded in there. And I'm hoping this is the right extractor. I have got several extractors for various bikes. I think this is the right one. Let's hope for the best. No, it's not. Right, let's go and see if we've got the other one here. Right, overconfidence once again. I was convinced I'd brought the right one with me. And of course, I brought the wrong one with me. So I think that will wrap up this video. We're probably about around the right length. So when we come back, I will have the right extractor to get this off. Hopefully the nuts will have arrived to take the cylinder head off, and then I'll take the barrels off, and then we'll get the engine out. So that'll do for today, I think, and we'll see you next time. Right, welcome back to the ongoing saga of removing the chain wheel. There's a sleeve nut here, which appears to be just a cover. I'll have to look in the parts book, see how BSA describe it. And then there's a lock nut there, which I've no I haven't, yes I have, which I've pre-loosened just to save a bit of time. And then there's a threaded screw which runs all the way through to a sprung loaded, is it sprung loaded? No, that's just a thread, to a pad which sits on the back of the adjuster. So if we undo that, I'm hoping it'll take the pressure off the chain. If I can find it right, there we go. Anyway, you get the idea. I'll just work my way down and get that pressure off completely. That's down as far as I think it'll go at the minute. It's starting to get tight, so there's no point forcing it because there's plenty of free play now in the chain. And the adjuster slides off. And again, there are normally 2 huge grooves cut into these just through natural wear. 3 grooves, in fact, there's a triple X chain as well. And it's just very, very light marking. All good. Right, that's loose, chain's loose. Let's get the extractor on there and get this off finally.